Welcome to another episode. In today's episode, we'll be seeing about wanderer, the seekers, the beginning of spirituality, a person's search for truth. Wanderer. We'll see about that. We will start with a poem, an Anglo-Saxon poem, and then we will see two incidents about two people, what they say about their seeking. So first the poem. Weary with winter, I wandered out on the frozen waves, hoping to find a place, a people, a lot to replace. My last ones, no one knew me now. No one offered comfort, allowed me feasting or joy. How cruel a journey I have travelled, sharing my bread with sorrow, alone in exile in every land. Firmly clutched by a fickle fate, fortune vanishes, friendship vanishes. Man is fleeting, woman is fleeting, and all this earth rolls into emptiness. So says the sage in his heart, sitting alone in his thought. This is the wanderer, poetry from the Exeter book. Then we will see about Martin Bachelor. It is in her own words. It was in South Korea in 1975 that I decided to become a Zen nun. I had wanted to see if meditation would enable me to change my mind. I had been idealistic from a very young age. From 11 onwards, I had wanted to save the world. I became an anarchist and read Bakunin. Then I dreamed of taking the magic bus to India from rural France. But at the ancient age of 18, I realized it was not that easy to change the world, let alone myself. So when I read a Buddhist text that suggested meditation might help, I decided to find a teacher and a practice. I ended up in a Zen Buddhist monastery in South Korea, where for 10 hours a day I silently asked the question, what is this? A month into my second 3-month retreat, I was sitting on my cushion asking, what is this? When I suddenly became aware of what was going on in my mind, it was all about me being at the center of the universe. What I wanted, what I hoped for, what I did not like, and so on. This experiential awareness led to a deep self-acceptance. I saw clearly for the first time the obstacle at the center of my suffering and was needed to transform it. I came to see that meditation was not about suddenly lighting up like a Christmas tree, but about releasing something and letting go. As the Japanese Zen master Dogen said in his Genchokoan, to study the Buddha's way is to study oneself. To study oneself is to forget oneself. To forget oneself is to be enlightened by all beings. So to study Buddha's way is to study oneself. To study oneself is to forget oneself. To forget oneself is to be enlightened by all the things. Next we will see A Heart Blown Open by Kate Martin Smith. The toddler stopped fidgeting. His face relaxed from its spasm as he opened his eyes to see everything around him. There was no sense of fear, no sense of what should be, no sense of that things were worse or better. There was awareness of his body and of a silence out of which everything arose. It was a peace deeper than anything his young mind associated with his mother's embrace or her breast, unbound to anything or anyone. It just was. Although the experience was gone, that sense of a peace deeper than anything he had ever known scored itself into memory of the toddler, burned itself into forming grey matter of his young brain. leaving a permanent marker for a sensation of stillness outside of time, space, or the sense of a separate self. For a few moments in early 1945, Dennis Kelly had been utterly, radically free. The world, Dennis realized, was mad. No one had an idea, any idea that they were doing this, why they were doing this, what they were doing this. His parents stumbled and struggled through parenthood and their own lives. Priests and nuns without beliefs taught to them, but had no more than an understanding of God than a parrot had of its empty phrases. Everyone everywhere was asleep, and those who pretend to hold awareness held nothing but empty beliefs. And tired stories as transparently improbable as child's. Education did not translate into wisdom or even to understanding. Someone could be incredibly bright and very well educated, but utterly clueless. Intelligence and education had nothing to do with how much you actually saw around you. It would take Dennis 50 years to unravel this mystery. And so he went on to a monastery seeking freedom, not just spiritual freedom, but freedom from his conditioned mind, freedom from his small self. He really wanted to figure out why he was such deeply conditioned man. But life conditions arose and he would react very strongly, as we all do. But he really saw it for the first time just how deep the conditioning went. Junpo realized there were no shortcuts, no free lunches, and started serious spiritual practices, mostly Eastern, not faith-based, however, but discipline-based, following the pragmatic meditation traditions of the yoga in India and the meditation traditions of Tibet and Japan. Then, after a lot of window shopping and sampling from 1965, in 1968, he met future Abo, Eido Shimano Roshi, and started serious Zen training at Dai Bosatsu Zendo Monastery in New York State, coming and going from 1978, leading to a full ordination as a monk priest in 1984. Opened my first Zen Yoga Center in California in 1984. Returned to the monastery in 1987. Resided there, first as a head monk, then as vice abbot. Received master's recognition in October of 1992. Stayed until spring 1993. I then resigned and went to Colorado for 2 years for personal psychological work and professional psychological training. Converted all teaching and forms from Japanese into English and continued teaching and training privately. Found my family, my tribe, my brothers within MKP in 1999. Junpo. Junpo is a name given to me, Dennis Kelly, by my Zen abbot. Junpo is man among men, dedicated to a life of meditative awareness. I am a man of Argentine tango, a man of organic wine, a man who makes his own biodiesel, a man in love with beautiful women, a man of intense passion, a man who harvests, eats wild mushrooms, digs clams and collects seaweed at the ocean, a man who feels and loves deeply, a man who devoted to the idea of Zorba, the Buddha, a man mending relationship, a man with lot of opinions, a man growing and learning, a man whose heart aches and soars, an ordinary man, a man like you. So this is about Junpo. This is how a spiritualist starts wandering. So this is the story of the wanderers, two wanderers, and the poem of wanderers, Anglo-Saxon poem. That is what we saw today. So stay with me for another episode. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.